Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another live stream episode. Moving to Georgia, I am Sarah Maslowski. Ugh, can't even remember my name. It's been such a busy week. I am Sarah Maslowski with Moving to Georgia, your North Georgia real estate agent. And we have a lot of good news to share with you tonight and a lot of great information to share with you on the latest and greatest developments that are happening here in the North Metro Atlanta area. But love to say hello. Say hello. Tell me where you're watching from. Would love to see where you're watching from. We often reach a lot of people in really great places across the country. And yeah, it's been a week here in Georgia waiting on the cool weather to come through, lower humidity. Leaves are slowly starting to fall. So that is, we can tell that change is on the horizon. So thanks for joining me tonight. And I'm happy that you are here. If you have any questions about what's happening in the real estate market, thoughts, comments, suggestions, let me know. Put those in the comments and we'll make sure to get to them. If you have not heard the news today, there is some breaking news and we need to talk about it. So the Fed had their September meeting today and they introduced a rate cut. And so that is super exciting. And you're seeing a lot of headlines. I'm kind of like, what does that mean for you as a consumer? And what can you expect to see as a buyer? And a lot of people have been anticipating this September meeting in anticipation that the Fed was going to cut the Fed interest rate. So let's dive into that and discover what that means for you as a buyer or someone out in the market thinking about buying or selling a house. But first, we're going to say hello to Victor. Thanks for tuning in and joining us tonight. So let's talk about this good news. So I'm going to share with you an article to kind of help us break this down. So here's the New York Times article explaining that the Fed makes a large rate cut. So they actually did a 0.5 point rate cut today. So that was good news. And it was kind of a bigger jump down. So let's take a look at what this means for y'all. So they lowered the rate to 4.9%. And so this is down from more than a 2-decade high. And it's the first time that they've dropped the rate in several years. What you need to know as a consumer is that mortgage interest rates are not directly correlated with the Fed interest rate. However, they are loosely correlated. So the Fed did this because it looks like we're making progress on inflation. And it's meant to prevent the economy from slowing down so much that the job market begins to weaken more painfully. So trying to avoid a recession, keep us in that target range of bringing inflation down and avoid the overall economic downturn that looks like is coming. So they're pumping the brakes and they're saying, hey, let's pull down the interest rates, which affect things like car loans and businesses, loan power, and all those kind of good stuff. So the big thing, though, we need to kind of find out is that what does this mean for your mortgage interest rates? So I'm going to jump down here. And so in this article, they go on to say that they expect that this is not the first rate cut that we're going to anticipate to see this fall. We're going to see more come later on this year. And by the end of 2025, they're expected to do some more rate cuts and get that down to 3.4%, lowering those borrowing costs. So let's see here. Somewhere down here. Okay, yep. All right, so it says, besides sending a positive signal about the economy, at least in this case, lower Fed rates also helps consumers. Mortgage rates have been coming down in anticipation of the central bank's rate cuts, making buying a home a bit easier for the typical household. So what this ultimately means for you is that interest rates have already made this move down in anticipation that the Fed was going to cut rates today. So I've been speaking to a lot of other real estate agents and seeing a lot of posts online, and they're saying, great, we cannot wait until the Fed meets on Wednesday. We're going to see a change in mortgage interest rates. Okay. The good news is we have seen a change in mortgage interest rates, but that change has already shown up in the marketplace. So we saw interest rates come down quite a bit over the past few weeks, and that was in direct relation or correlation to the expected announcement. Everyone saw the signs. The Fed was giving very strong signals that, hey, we're cutting interest rates in September. And so the mortgage world already knew this was coming, and so they went ahead and already factored it in. So the good news is that if you have been pre-approved in the past recent weeks, you have benefited from this rate cut that happened today. So what I'm preparing you for is don't expect to see mortgage interest rates change a whole lot in the coming weeks. And just know that the benefit of this rate cut has already been baked into the mortgage rates falling over the past several weeks. The good news in this article and the news that came out today is that this is just the start. So we're anticipating future rate cuts in the future. And so that is, again, going to have positive impact on mortgage interest rates, and that we're going to see those slowly start coming down as well. So I'm going to share with you a little bit of what you can expect from mortgage rates. We're just kind of comparing what they've done this year and how that's impacted you as a buyer. Give me just a second to get this going. Let's see here. All right. We are almost cooking with gas. If you're just joining us, we are sharing what does the Fed interest rate drop mean for you as a buyer or consumer. If you're just joining us, say hello, tell me where you're watching from in the comments. If you have any questions about the market, making a move, have any thoughts on this, let me know. I would love to get your input. Okay, so how does this help you? If you look at the beginning of the year, back in April 2024, mortgage rates were about 7.5%. And so that means that if you were buying a $400,000 house, and I think they're not, I think this is based on a 20% down payment, which you don't have to put down 20%, but running some numbers, your mortgage payment would have been $2,800 a month. That's just principal and interest. Now, flash forward to this time this year, if you were to get that same exact mortgage, you are now only paying $2,400 a month. You're saving over $400 per month, $373. And if you paid off that entire loan over a 30-year period, that's going to save you $134,000. That's crazy. So here's the great thing. Now, let's say that you bought this $400,000 house back in April. You can refinance now and get that $2,400 a month mortgage payment. Now, you want to consult with a really great lender. I have 2 really great lenders that I can refer you to that can help you with this conversation. And you might be looking at this and saying, wow, I just bought a house. If I can save more than a couple $100 a month, that's well worth it for me to refinance. And it is. However, when you do a refinance, it is going to come a little bit with a cost. And so we want to kind of factor that into it as well. However, mortgage rates are going to continue to come down next year. So there's going to be another opportunity where it's going to make sense for you to refinance. And so it may make more sense, instead of doing 2 refinances, it may make more sense to just hold off, analyze the numbers a little bit with someone that's really smart and knows what they're doing and can kind of help you see the pros and cons, and then make an informed decision about when you want to refinance. Now, another thing that you should take into consideration right now, because you're probably sitting here thinking, Sarah, you're telling me all this great news and you're telling me that mortgage interest rates are going to continue to come down. I should wait to buy a house when it's even more affordable. And that could possibly be an outcome that could very well be true. Don't have a magic ball. Gosh, I wish I did. It would help out so much. However, one of the great things about the market right now today, and this is very important, I want to make sure you hear me loud and clear. It is a really good time in the market right now to be a buyer. And the reason it's a great time to be a buyer is because despite mortgage interest rates dropping over the past several weeks, and despite all this good news, a lot of Americans are just sitting on the sidelines waiting. Not quite sure what they're waiting for. Maybe the election, maybe after the first of the year, but a lot of buyers are waiting, which means more and more sellers have put their home on the market because they need to sell, and they are not getting as much activity on their homes as what they're used to. They're not getting the offers that they're used to. So the only thing that they can do right now to encourage buyers to make offers is to either do price adjustments or be very open to negotiations. So I am seeing for buyers that I'm currently actively working with, people just like you that are making the move here to the North Georgia area, is we're negotiating some good deals. And so this is a excellent time period to get a better deal on a house, and you're going to be able to take advantage of refinancing that loan in the future and save even more money. Now, if I could have a little bit of a magic 8 ball or fortune crystal ball, not 8 ball, crystal ball, if we look into the future, if I can flash forward to spring, my guess, and I'm hearing this from a lot of economists and what they are saying, is that we anticipate that more and more buyers are going to see all this good news. They're going to see the interest rates continue to trickle down, and demand is going to be very high in the spring from buyers, which means sellers are going to get a lot of activity on their houses, and they're going to be way less open to negotiation because there's going to be more people that want to buy their house. So you're not going to be able to negotiate much come spring. So you're likely going to end up paying a higher price for that house. So why not, if you have the ability to buy it now, take advantage of these deals that you can negotiate with the sellers, and also take advantage of the lower interest rates in the future as well. All right, we've got Carl joining us from New Jersey. Thanks for joining. We've got David here watching somewhat locally from Covington. Thank you. The Truth, you are watching us from the dinner table. What's for dinner? I got my husband upstairs cooking dinner, so I'm excited to do that. This is going to sound really weird and random, but I've recently rediscovered my love for rice-a-roni. I can't believe I'm admitting this, but yeah, so tonight's meal is going to have some good old rice-a-roni, which good old chicken flavor. It's just, there's something about rice-a-roni. I think it's the little noodle pieces that are in the rice, which is just so unique. Anyways, I'm excited about rice-a-roni tonight. Citizen PM just got to Gainesville a few months ago. Fingers crossed, I should be able to buy a place in early to mid 2025. Oh, welcome. How are you enjoying Gainesville? I would love your input and your insight on the town. I think Gainesville is a really, really great place to choose to land. So I'm anxious to see how you're experiencing it so far, and if you like it, don't like it. If you ever need any restaurant recommendations, hit me up because I got you. This is my place. All right, so now's a great time to buy if you can. So let's talk a little bit more about, oh, the truth. Look at you. Jerk, cabbage, greens, and chicken. That sounds amazing. Sounds like you belong here in Georgia with that meal. That sounds really, really good. Okay, so great news on the mortgage interest rate front. And you also have an opportunity as a buyer to make it even better for you by buying now and then really taking advantage of refinancing down the road. If you have any questions about that, disagree, have a different opinion, I'd love to know. So let me know in the comments. Now, one thing that we are not seeing happening here in the North Metro Atlanta area is growth stopping anytime soon. So everywhere you drive around the North Metro Atlanta area, you see signs for new construction, developers putting up anything and everything they can, anywhere they can. And one of the main places that we see a lot of growth and development happening is in the area of Cumming. Now, one piece of growth centers around 55 plus communities. Now, if you are someone of the age that is looking in 55 plus communities, you may already well be familiar with some of these big major master plan communities like Del Webb or Crestwind. We have several of those here in the North Metro Atlanta area. The good thing about those communities is that you have a ton of amenities like multiple pools, indoor, outdoor pools, huge clubhouses, lots of pickleball, tennis courts, usually some other type of amenities, dog parks, walking trails. If you can think of it, they've got it. And there's some really great options around here. However, we're starting to see some of these more kind of like micro 55 plus communities popping up around the North Metro Atlanta area. And Cumming actually has 3 brand new 55 plus communities. They're in the process of being built. So I am going to share that with you a little bit and kind of show with you a little bit more. Now, these range in prices. And so sometimes it's really hard because we have folks that reach out and say, hey, we want a 55 plus community and, we want to spend $400,000. Sometimes it's possible. And a lot of times, especially for new construction, it is not possible. So let's take a look at what they're building. So, okay, let me get my buttons working. Okay. One of the communities is called, this is called the Promenade at Sawney Village. Now, these homes are starting in the high fives. Now, if you've watched my channel any at all about new construction homes, you know that when they say they're starting in the high fives, like 574, really they mean they're starting in the 600s because typically that is for the base model of the house without any upgrades. And especially in these communities where they allow you to pick out the lots, they're going to charge a lot premium. And so usually that starting price does not also include a lot premium. So what I mean by lot premiums are, let's take a look at this site plan. This community is going to have close to 250 homes. So that's a pretty large community. But you can see here that some of these home sites back up to, let's see, this one backs up to a road, right? So they're not going to be able to charge as much of a lot premium for that house as, say, this lot number 43 down here that's going to back up to a wooded area. They're going to charge a lot premium for that. These homes that are here in the middle of the street, they're not going to charge as much of a lot premium as like a corner lot because you're getting more desirable placement in the community. So they're going to charge lot premiums for that. So that's just something to keep in mind. Now, this community is going to have amenities. Here it says it's going to include a clubhouse. That's hard to see. Kitchen, pool, fire pits, and 3 pickleball courts. So not as robust of a community amenities as what you're going to see in Del Webb, but you're still going to have really great home sites and amenities here in the neighborhood that's going to range anywhere between 1,800 square feet. Now, these are going to have 3 bedrooms and 2 bathrooms, which is great because a lot of 55 plus communities only have 2 bedroom homes. And then sometimes they might have like a teeny tiny office, but I find a lot that, sorry, I lost my train of thought because I have a client trying to reach out to me right now and good opportunities. She had her house under contract. So that's really, really exciting. So what I find a lot working with 55 plus buyers is that they still want 3 bedrooms because you want to have a true guest bedroom and you need like an office space. And sometimes these little office spaces that they call an office, it's just a glorified closet. So that is something to keep in mind. And I think this is really great that they're having 3 bedroom floor plans. All right. So in addition to that neighborhood, there is also another neighborhood that is coming up in Cumming, and that one is called Windsor Bluffs. Now, this one is a gated neighborhood with a clubhouse and pickleball court. These houses starting from the 800s. So this is getting pretty up there for 55 plus communities. But what you're paying for here is the location and the convenience in being in Cumming, kind of like South Cumming, being right there at the collection at Forsyth. Lots of great shopping really close nearby. And so you can see that this is going to be a smaller community with only 40 or so homes. Now, they do have 2 phases that are going in the neighborhood right now. They are building currently. So this is something that, you are interested. There's not a whole lot of opportunities. But these houses that they're building, again, from the 800s, so they don't have a very robust website in terms of showing you a whole lot of the interior of the homes. So that is a neighborhood. And then we also have another neighborhood that is being built and coming right now. And that one is called Courtyards at Tradition. This is being built by Stratton Homes. This neighborhood is currently selling $200 a month HOA. And I like how their one amenity is a fire pit. But beautiful homes that you can see there between high 500s, 600s, and they also have basement home sites. So one thing that I often get asked from clients that are considering new construction is they ask like, oh, we want a basement home. So if you want a basement house, this is something that there's only a few of them available typically on each street or in a neighborhood. And the reason for that is these basement lots have to be built kind of like on a slope because you have to dig into the ground, right? To build out that neighborhood. So build out the basement. I'm sorry, y'all. So because of that, if a lot is relatively flat, that's going to be a slab home. They can't turn that into a basement because all of our basements here are walkout basements. So you're always going to have daylight. They're really great for extra storage. But if a basement is something that is a must for you, especially with new construction, you really want to kind of act faster because there's just not that many opportunities in neighborhoods as what there are going to be for slab homes. Atlantic, who's joining us, saying HOA is way too high. So one thing you want to keep in mind with 55 plus community HOAs, typically that is covering trash service, lawn service. Sometimes they'll cover the exterior maintenance of the house, usually landscaping, things like that. And then, of course, it's covering any HOA amenities, pool, clubhouse, clubs, that sort of thing. Now, this community that has a fire pit, ooh, that's exciting. But that is something to keep in mind. I wanted to point this out to y'all. So this is a neighborhood in Cumming, and you can kind of see this aerial shot. And if you look above the homes, like closer to the top of the screen, you can see what looks like a few home sites that back up to this neighborhood. And one of the comments that I often get from clients that are new to the area that are checking out Cumming, and this happens in Cumming, Gainesville, kind of like the North Metro counties, you are going to have new construction neighborhoods right next to grandma's house that hasn't been updated, that maybe is a little bit run down. Maybe there's a rundown barn just across the street from the neighborhood or down the road. And this is all completely normal. You have to keep in mind that a lot of these Georgia towns are not these master planned communities or planned out in block by block by block, as you may see in some northern or Midwestern cities. Developers are just kind of developing land any and everywhere that they can. And oftentimes I have clients that say, hey, there's kind of a rundown house just outside the neighborhood. Is that going to negatively impact my property values? And the answer to that is no, it's not. This is just how things are here in Georgia. And it's not something that anyone locally takes into consideration. And it's not something that an appraiser takes into consideration. Now, if you are telling me that you have a really nice house and it's next to a really rundown house and surrounded by a bunch of other rundown houses and you're not in a neighborhood, yes, that can negatively impact the value of your home. However, just in general, it's not going to when it's a case like this. And whenever you're out driving around, this may feel like you are in the middle of nowhere. However, oftentimes you're just 5-10 minutes away from a grocery store, and I guarantee you, wait 5 to 7 years, and this area is going to look drastically different. The reason that we see so much growth and development happening kind of like in North Cumming and in these northern areas is because that's the only place that there's land left to develop. A lot of times it's families that are holding on to farmland or acreage that's been in the family for years and years and years, and these families are able to sell it for a really great profit. And this is what developers are buying up to build communities on. It's another thing I often get asked questions about. Hey, we're thinking about maybe we'll just buy a piece of land and build. And you can. It's just going to be very difficult to find that piece of land to build on because there's just not a whole lot of land available. And what land is available, oftentimes these smaller builders will buy up a few acres, put in 3 or 4 houses on those on those acres, and then turn around and sell them. So if there is land available in an area that you want to be and it hasn't sold yet and it's in kind of like one of the bigger areas that we talk about here on the channel, you want to do some more digging and find out, why is this available? Did it just come on the market? Or if it's been sitting there for a while, why hasn't someone else bought it? It just gives you a little bit of an opportunity to look a little bit deeper. Sometimes it could be the location. Sometimes it could be very difficult to build on in terms of a septic system, and maybe it's a steeper lot. And so would have to have a basement with a big retaining wall, a lot of backfilling. So there's a lot of factors that kind of go into that could explain why that house is still available. So just something, or not house, why the land. So just something to keep in mind. All right, if you have any questions as we're discussing everything, let me know. If you haven't already liked and subscribed to the channel, please do that. This really helps us grow. And if you know someone that's thinking about making a move to Georgia that needs all this great information, please share it with them. We put out videos every single Monday, giving you an update on what's going on in the area and keeping you updated on the latest and greatest in the ins and outs of the areas. So if you have a question about the housing market or making a move, let me know in the comments. So let's get into some more new developments that are happening in our area that you need to know about. So let's see here. So not only do we have 3 new construction 55 plus communities coming to Cumming, but there's also lots of other things happening in Cumming, and we'll just talk about 2 of these things. Now, if you've watched any of the other videos on Cumming, you may have seen me talk about Cumming City Center. And this is a new development that is incoming, that is kind of like a shopping, retail, restaurant space. And it's really, really great. It's exciting. There's a big amphitheater there where there's lots of events happening. And it's just a really, really cool space for Cumming to enjoy and kind of develop a sense of community there. There's lots of land left to be developed around Cumming City Center, and they recently just sold a chunk of that land for $8.8 million. That was sold to 2 different developers, and this article goes on to say that these 2 different developers bought this land, and it's zoned as a planned unit development, meaning that it has to fall within that zoning category, which would be something similar to a mixed-use residential and commercial development. So think townhomes, condos, along with retail restaurant space. So a lot of times this provides a really good sense of walkability, or that ability to walk out of your house and go shopping or enjoy a coffee shop, restaurant, dog park, that sort of thing. And one of the downsides, I would say, to the North Metro Atlanta area is that there's not a very many areas that are super walkable, even a little bit walkable. Every now and then you can find a townhome development or maybe a few condos close to a downtown area, but this is kind of answering that and giving you a little bit of a taste of what it would be like to just walk out your door and go grab lunch or dinner or head to the coffee shop to do some work. So this will be a really cool, interesting thing for us to keep our eyes on to see what exactly they're going to announce and put here. So that is exciting. And let's see here. The other development that is happening in Cumming that's coming to Cumming. I think I told y'all last time that I was going to research and figure out how the name of Cumming became Cumming, because every single time I post a video, people are like, why the name of that town? And, I didn't name it. And they even had someone tell me that they weren't going to buy a house in that town because they didn't want that to be their address, which, that is well within their right. Did I lose it? Nope. Okay, here we go. All right, there is a new subdivision with 100 homes approved in Northwest Forsyth County. So this is going to put you a little bit closer over to the Canton area of Forsyth County. And this development was interesting. This was a piece of land that was bought back when a certain type of zoning and planning was allowed, which was a kind of like more of a high density area of houses. So this goes on to say that it's a holdover zoning. And basically what this means is there's going to be a lot of houses in a short or in a small amount of land. And they've actually put forth their proposal. This is going to be a mixture of, they took out the townhouses. This is all going to be single family homes. But if you are wanting a neighborhood where you have space in between your houses, this is not the neighborhood for you, because these are going to have some pretty small yards. They are going to have 2.5 houses per acre. So you're looking at, what is that? A third of an acre lot. Someone do the math for me there, because that's not my strong suit, but that is what you will find there in that neighborhood. So expect to have 100 houses. Fact of the matter is, there's no development shortages happening at all across the North Metro Atlanta area, especially if you want new construction houses. Speaking of, having small lots, it's just something that kind of goes hand in hand with new construction homes. It is almost impossible, unless you have an unlimited budget, to find a new construction home on greater than, let's say, a third of an acre. If that house is going to be located on half of an acre new construction, you're probably looking at a $900,000 plus house, if even that, especially depending upon the location. And it's because land is at such a premium, and builders can charge this because there's people willing to pay for it, because obviously they want to maximize their profit and their money. And there's just not any builders currently that I know of that are building on estate size lots or 1 acre lots and building these huge subdivisions. Now, you can find plenty of those options if you are open to a resale house. And a lot of these homes were kind of built in the 90s and the 2000s, before this kind of push to put in as many houses in a small area that we can happened. And oftentimes those homes are going to need a little bit of renovation and some cosmetic work. But it all kind of comes down to what is most important to you. All right, let's hop over to Braselton and Flowery Branch. These are two other areas. This is located in Gainesville area-ish, so north of Beaufort, a little bit northeast of Atlanta. And these are two really, really great communities where if you want new construction, if you just go across the lake and buy here, you're going to be able to get more house for your money than you are over in Cumming. The reason for that is Cumming is just north of Alpharetta. Alpharetta has become very, very popular. It's also a really strong tech hub for a lot of jobs and a lot of employers. And so they employ a lot of people around there. Well, houses in Alpharetta are quite pricey, depending upon your budget and your price point. So a lot of growth and development has happened north in Cumming, where you can find more new construction homes. You can find more homes for your money. And the school systems over there are really great as well, just as they are in Alpharetta. And that trade-off, even though you get more in Cumming, it still kind of pushed those prices up there as well. So if you just want to be somewhere in the North Metro Atlanta area, and new construction is something that you're after, I would highly suggest looking into Flowery Branch, Braselton, Gainesville area. You're going to find a lot more affordable options there. So let's take a look at the new community that is happening. I drive past this community every single day, and this is a new neighborhood. It's a D.R. Horton neighborhood called Waypoint, and they have not started building this neighborhood yet, but the signs are up. The pre-development is almost done, so they're getting close to breaking ground. And this neighborhood is in Flowery Branch off of McEver Road. So this gives you really great access to 985 if that's something that's important to you. And the pricing of the homes here, I don't know if they've released that. Does it say? It does not say, but I want to say that the sign that I drive past every day says low 400s or maybe high 300s. And I remember thinking, like, are they really going to be able to do that for in the 300s? I highly doubt that, but we'll see. So I'll keep you updated on that. But that is going to be a D.R. Horton community that's going to be pretty big. I don't know if they have on here how many homes. I don't see that, but looking at it from driving past, it's going to be several hundred homes in that neighborhood. And that's a brand new neighborhood, pretty great convenient location. Even if you have to commute down to Beaufort, Suwanee area, this would be really convenient because it's in South Hall County. Another great thing about Hall County and Cumming, which is Forsyth County, is that the taxes are really good there as well compared to Gwinnett County. Gwinnett County is just south of, I guess it's southeast of Forsyth, but directly south of Hall. And you're going to pay significantly less property taxes there than what you would in Gwinnett County or Fulton County. Oh, good question. Which community is better, Northfield, Brookmead Trail, or Sterling Point? Yeah, Brookmead Trail is a new community that is taking place as well. I'd have to do some additional research, but send me an email or reach out to me. There's a link, I think, in the video description of this, and I'd love to give you a little bit more guidance on those and take a closer look at the pros and cons of what that looks like for you. Andrea, great question. What about Dawsonville? So I think it'd be helpful. Let me see if I can pull this up real quick for us. I'm going to pull up a map so that we can kind of see where Dawsonville is located. Bear with me. Why isn't that opening up? Okay, let's do this in Google Maps. Y'all can't see this yet, but I can. I'm talking as if y'all can see this. All right, let me get us on the same page. Okay, here we go. All right, so Dawsonville is located just north of Cumming, which is right here. And this Highway 19, this is also what we call Georgia 400. I don't understand why it's called 19 on here, but we call it 400. Anyways, so Dawsonville is north of Cumming, which is north of Alpharetta. And so as you can see, this 19 Georgia 400 connects all three of these areas. And so growth has just continued to push north and north and north. And that's also impacted Dawsonville. Now, this area right here in this intersection, I don't know if y'all can see my mouse, but right here in kind of like the Silver City area, this is highly developed in Dawsonville. Lots of great retail shopping, kind of like big box stores. There's a big outlet mall there. Lots of great chain restaurants, Olive Garden, Longhorn, that sort of thing. And so there's a lot of new construction development happening in Dawsonville, and the price is not as inexpensive as what you're going to find kind of like in Braselton area. Again, it's because of all that growth that's happening and that continues to push north and north and north. So Dawsonville for sure is going to be more affordable than Cumming, and for sure way more affordable than Alpharetta. So if it's important for you to kind of be on that eastern or western side of Lake Lanier and up Georgia 400 for easy access, that's going to be a very good place to be. If you want to still kind of feel like you're a little bit in the woods, a little bit of a small town, north of Dawsonville, still Dawsonville addresses, but north of Dawsonville is where you're still going to be able to feel that. because there's a lot left of Dawsonville that hasn't been touched, and you still have a lot of homes on acreage and that sort of thing. Now, if that's your thing, you're likely going to pay a premium for that because a lot of people want that. And these people bought it back when it was cheap to live in Dawsonville. So there's that. There is a fantastic neighborhood in Dawsonville called Chestatee, and that's right on Lake Lanier. It's a beautiful golf course community. Feels like out of a storybook. It is just absolutely gorgeous. So that's a great, great community to check out if that's something that you are wanting to be near or on. So great question. Thanks for asking that. The truth, Gwinnett County is known for the best school districts. Yes, in some areas. And you also have really great schools in Forsyth County. Where Dawsonville is located, Dawson County, they have really great school ratings. The good thing is that what I find from a lot of clients that are relocating from other states, even our schools that we say are just okay on paper, here locally, parents will tell you that they're still really great. But if you look at ratings and stuff online, what I find is that they're still really better than where you're likely moving from. So something to keep in mind and take a look at. David says, my wife and I are saving towards buying in early 2025. Any chance new construction builders still keep some of these incentives by then, especially with the Fed rate cuts? I really love this question. So if I were a buyer saving up for a new construction house, this might be the perfect time to start exploring your options. So oftentimes builders, depending upon the neighborhood, will build 4 to 6 months out in advance. So they're starting on a house right now that they're going to release or it'll be finished in January, February of next year. So if they can get that house sold before it gets, to completion, they're thrilled with that. They're really, really happy with that. So builders will oftentimes allow you to go under contract and take advantage of today's incentives, whatever those may be, for those homes that aren't going to close for another couple of months because they can count on that contract. So if you're able to qualify now with whatever you have, even though you want to save up more money for a down payment, that still allows you to go ahead and get a contract on the house, but you're not actually putting up the money or the funds for the actual closing until the house actually is finished and it closes. So that could be a really great option for you to consider. Now, one thing to know about new construction builders is if you went to them today, they're usually going to have 2 sets of incentives. One for a house that's like ready to go now or within the next few weeks, because that's the one that they want off their books because it's ready to go now and they don't want to, pay interest on the construction loans and business loans that they're carrying to cover that. So the incentives are going to be much greater for homes that are either completed or very close to completion. And then usually there's a secondary incentive for houses that they're still having to build that's not as great as the homes that they're currently building. However, I think it's a great thing to take a look at because it's a little bit of an unknown of how builders are going to react or what the market's going to do come spring. I would imagine that as sales become stronger, builders are going to pull back on the incentives that they're offering, especially as interest rates come down. You might see a return of a few $1,000s towards closing cost or maybe free blinds or a free refrigerator. But some of these builders have been offering really robust incentives for buyers this year. And, they're definitely going to pull that back because home buying is going to become a little bit more affordable and demand is going to come up. So those are really, really great questions. Okay, last thing I want to share with y'all is I thought this was interesting, and I wonder, you can tell me what this is like in your community. But there is a proposal putting forth by the Planning and Development or Planning and Zoning Committee for Hall County, which is Gainesville, Flowery Branch, parts of Braselton, that going forward, any new townhouses that are built are going to have rear-facing garages. And that's because they find that it's easier for the right-of-way access so that neighbors aren't fighting for driveway space and then parking in the actual street. I think the thought is that if there's like alleyways or behind, that's going to eliminate some of that. So townhouses can be a really, really great option for buyers. And, the downside is that you usually don't get a yard. However, some townhome units, you get a little bit of a backyard. But now if you're going to have to put the driveways and garage access on the rear of the house, that eliminates, any chance of having a private backyard. So I kind of see this as a negative thing. But I'm interested to see what your thoughts are on that. Because it wouldn't be for me. And, maybe some people don't care about that. So, well, just one more reminder, if you haven't liked or subscribed, please do that. It helps you get notified every single time that we have a new video or going live here. If you're thinking about making a move to Georgia, I want to be your real estate agent. If it's not an area that I cover, I have fantastic agent partners all throughout the state that are super knowledgeable about their area, and I want to make sure that you're working with someone good. So if you are thinking about making a move, there is a link below this video. Click on that. It'll get us connected, and we will get started working with you just like we are so many people that are watching the live stream tonight. So thanks for spending some time with me, catching up on what's going on. If you have any more thoughts, I'd love to hear them. So let me know, send me an email, reach out, look forward to hearing from you, and I will see you next Monday when we drop a new video. Bye, y'all.